Hey everyone, welcome. It's Alisha here at Cosmic Gateway. This will be the March 2026 energy update or cosmic update and intuitive insight guidance. So I hope that you're all doing well. As I record this, yes, we are right smack bang in the middle of the eclipse season, which is always a tedious doorway to walk through, right? It always tends to bring up a lot of stuff. It brings unexpected surprises. But ultimately, it is narrowing. Like the vision that I get when I say that is ultimately what it's doing is narrowing and closing off a lot of old faulty timeline or expressions of ourself that we're releasing or letting go or deep diving to transmute so that we can be in this highest alignment that is like not just this 2026 energy, but it feels like we've entered into this lead up to a whole new era that's opening and expanding. And I can talk more about that in detail of how I am witnessing it in real time, which is actually really exciting. But it's down on the personal level and even on the collective level, right? Everything feels crazy and chaotic and incredibly transformative. And I say that very um, cautiously because I know that many, including myself, have been through some great deep dives and like shifts and changes. And it's very much interwoven or interconnected in what I have been witnessing and perceiving is happening on that higher perspective on the collective level. So I've got tons and tons of notes to talk about all the different aspects and elements of what I believe is happening in real time. And I want to extend to like maybe prefacing like what we're witnessing now on a global level. For those, I know that some of you are probably witnessing it. Some of you are like, no, I already know this. I don't need to energetically attune to it. But we can't escape the fact that the energies in the collective field are ramping up in that kind of gunky, sludgy. I think that access on the eclipse really opened a doorway, and as we've been moving through more and more in truth that's coming to light, it's like all the things that have been suppressed for a long time, kind of all of us, it's like a jack in the box. All of a sudden it just kind of spewed out. And we are going through incremental releases of a lot of that really, really dense, distorted frequencies, which has many different themes interwoven into it, but it really is deep shadow, distorted, you know, sexual energies, atrocities that have been done to children, the inverted at its most um I don't even know. I was like, I'm trying to catch that word. The inverted at its most distorted peak. And what I wanted to kind of share as then I'm going to go through the breakdown of it all. It's pretty much happening almost verbatim, not not exactly, but the trajectory of the rollout of how things are unraveling is pretty much how not just I, but many people have seen over the years of how before we get to really anchoring in and moving into this new paradigm, this new harmonic frequency of reality or expression of the new earth, many different words. I had a session just the other day, and it was like that language around, we're going home, we're going back to the original creation version. Um, and that really sparked something in me because I can feel the energy and essence of flavor of that. And what I am noticing is we are having real time tap in experiences to that. It may happen for an hour, it might happen for 6 hours, it might happen for a day or two or a week. And then it's like there's more sort of collective shifting, and then it's like these peaks and troughs. And I do get the sense of what one of the common messages that has been coming up a lot via sessions is we stabilize out once we hit April. So we're still sort of going through the teething and testing stages. And once we kind of move beyond the equinox point, and especially that week of the 21st, the 28th feels so incredibly powerful in terms of what we're actually moving through now and breaking down from a multi-dimensional level to get prepared for a lot of those dates, which ends a lot of contracts, soul contracts, contracts that may be tied into government programs, various different things that have been probably synthetic or energetic overlays in many people's reality for best part of their life. That's a huge pivotal marker in that week of not just how it will impact the individual, but how it will collapse. It's like this energetic collapse of what's occurring this month to get to these very specific, almost collective soul points. You know, how we talk like timeline point, choice points, sorry. And then I've been talking about how we have those soul points that are already predestined to kind of hit those markers. I don't know about you, but I've been getting this like, we've got to get to these points. We've got to get to these points. It's almost like my higher self every day is making me run a marathon of what needs to kind of culminate in preparation for that. So it can be challenging to navigate if you're not really aware of what is taking place in the multidimensionality, because a lot of us are really working overtime. And there's been a lot of bleed through of the different layers and distorted layers that we're collapsing in on when we're in things like mission, going in on mission work via dream space, or even sometimes, I've talked about this a lot, sometimes it can happen spread over a couple of days. And so you can have that bleed through and have those sort of non-functional days where you feel like your consciousness is just not here, it's sort of elsewhere. So there's also been a lot of that. But I'm going to dive in and just pull up my notes because I did write a ton of notes. I think probably the first thing I want to talk about, obviously, I've been sharing a lot of information around the reconfiguration around conscious relationship that's really been heightened, especially once we entered into February. And I think, I don't quote me on this, I'm not an astrologer, but I do believe that this next eclipse that we're leading up into has some very highlighted points around, looking at old outdated relationship patterns and like clearing them. And I've certainly felt and witnessed that energy pretty much the entire month of February. But what I will tell you is I woke up from a dream. So I have been witnessing a lot of the multidimensional cleanup, which has a lot to do with the dismantling of the dark web. And when I say that, I mean that energetically, but I think that relates physically as well. There's definitely multiple layers or components to that. And a lot of it has been clearing a lot of the distortion and interference energy around relationships, soul partnerships, soul connections, but also any sort of high powered frequency match relationship. As probably many of you know, if you're watching this, these relationships can get huge momentum and then shut down because of interference. And this has been an ongoing thing, not just in the last couple of years, but if you probably look back your entire life. And what I am excited to share with you is that the actual root cause of that energy overlays as it comes in is in the process of being dismantled at its origin point or its highest point. And that happens multidimensionally. And then we get the flow on effect of opening the channels so that we're restructuring this relationship template and allowing more of it to anchor in. And this has been in progress, I'd say, since the end of last year. If you've been following, month by month, there's a theme that's playing out. So the more of that new relationship template or the original relationship template that's been revamped, the more of that's been cascading in, it's kicked up the dust. And now it's like in real time, you can see this energy almost like it's tangible, like the energy that comes in that sort of takes over people's consciousness or creates a separation or divide in between people, keeping them at odds. So that is a process that's been highly focused on this month to, on the dismantling of that. On the individual level, though, a big part of my focus and has come up in my work has been how to really disconnect or re-solidify the energetic field so that it's completely incompatible to interference energy. Often interference energy comes in, or there are energetic imprints, or could be through distortion, it can be through trauma, can be through implants. And when I say that, I mean energetic implants. But basically, whatever is in the field that creates a weak spot, that's porous, that could be a trigger or a trauma. It's like really, there's a word that I'm looking for. It's like, it's almost fine tuning, laser pointing, like cauterizing. That's what I'm looking for, to be able to recode in the body and in the field where the points latch in, whether it be entity attachments, whether it's matrix cords, whether it's interference frequencies that get pumped because they're in the atmosphere, right? So it's like we've got to be able to create our field as strong as possible so that we can feel it, but we're not being overrun by it, or we're not being completely taken over by it, or we're not being completely sideswiped. So it's like really being able to essentially reclaim our own personal power. So that has been, or that is, I should say, the inspiration for my next soul activation that will be held on the 3rd of the 3rd. So if you'd like to join on Tuesday, the 3rd of March, at the time of the next eclipse, which will be the lunar eclipse in Virgo, I will be holding or hosting an online event, which is called Reclaim Your Power. And it's a guided energy process where I'll be guiding you through the nuances of going back and retracing the steps of the soul journey, going back into the womb and going back even further if necessary to be able to close down and shut down those timelines and recode and recalibrate the inner strength to rebuild your core knowing of self, the new version of self, and to be able to be strong and solidify so you can move forward with courage and confidence in wherever your soul and higher self is leading you. So that will be at 7 p.m. Melbourne, Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'll put the details in the description box below. And of course, yes, there will be a replay available for this and all the soul activations that I do. Unfortunately, it's almost impossible to cater for all time zones, but I will try and alternate throughout the year different events so that it's more time zone applicable for some of you. But I have got amazing feedback from people who've just been able to access the replay, and it's equally as powerful and potent watching it in the comfort of your own time zone and in your own home. So would love for you to join that if that speaks to you directly. And so that's as we work within ourselves, that is, or that has the capacity to have a reverberation within the collective field as well. So what I've been witnessing now for about 2 weeks is this dismantling of the dark web, these energetic overlays that go incongruent with the ley lines, the energetic ley lines. They have been moving and shifting now for quite some years. For anyone who joined me on that course that I taught about 3 or 4 years ago, I was talking about how my theory is that as the poles have been incrementally shifting, so have the ley lines. And if you think about where all the sacred sites have been operating, not just the sacred sites, but also where things like churches have been built and where rituals have been done, there's a lot of pockets or portals that have probably have a lot of access points for dark or interdimensional energies and entities. And what I believe is happening is the shifting of the ley lines is moving these ley lines and portals into places where they wouldn't necessarily operate. So it's creating a bit of disturbance in the field. You probably read some of my posts around that, but we have that a lot in the atmosphere. But what is, if you see it as sort of this dark web that is surrounding this reality that we're currently in, I'm watching it in real time being dissolved. Oh, I love when my body reacts to that. Dissolved and dismantled. And one of the reasons why that is occurring is often when I go out driving or I go into nature, I will drop into remote viewing something, not because I am seeking it. It's almost like it shows me something that I have an aspect of myself in another dimensional realm in some sort of operation. And I like to share these to as much detail as I can because often I see people that I recognize as part of that operation. And I know that not everyone has the recall, or people have the awareness that perhaps something is occurring, but maybe not the full disclosure of the information. It's just a subtle awareness. So I want to share what I've witnessed because it may put some context around why some days have been harder than others, why you've been, just walking around your house or doing your chores or doing some work, and all of a sudden you just feel the need to lie down and you get passed out for hours, or you wake up feeling really off and something went down. It's like I have been witnessing a lot of warring factions that are happening interdimensionally. There's, let's say, a losing team that don't want to wave their white flag. And so there's been some attempts to try and hold on to some level of control. And this is what I believe is playing out in real time now. Now, I've mentioned before, and as I say this, I'm sure many of you have, I feel like I've witnessed the end of this movie a few times. So we know how it ends, but it's like this is what I am witnessing is happening multidimensionally in what we would call real-time linear. So it's coming to a wrap up and to a close. We're ending this cycle, and some of us are already operating partly in the new and stepping into it, and we're kind of going through what I was talking about, this migration that's happening, this flickering in and out of different dimensional spaces, and reality is part of this migration that is shifting to eventually we just solidify into that space, which is beyond exciting because the energy there is amazing. So in part of these missions, I have witnessed kind of like a siege happen in a lot of these underground facilities, a lot of the facilities that hold parts or portions of people's consciousness in what I call matrix pods. So take it verbatim, like take it literal or take it metaphoric. Either way, I can explain what that means. I believe that our consciousness, or a lot of people's consciousness that hold a lot of frequency of light, have portions of their consciousness in what I would call matrix pods that have been generating the synthetic overlay. This is a part of what happens when we get tagged as we come into the womb. And there is like a portion of our consciousness that then gets put into what we would consider parallel realities. This is what is closing down. So as we shut down and we close that off and we start to pull back more of our consciousness out of these parallels or other timelines, that's when we go through our own, you can call it an inner solar flash event, an awakening of some description. That's where we embody as much of our highest consciousness into our physical body, which is essentially what ascension is. We're doing that individually, and the more people that are doing that individually en masse, it reverberates within the collective. So a lot of people are in this process of what I call a cleanup or rescue mission to pull people's energy and consciousness out of these and collapse these reality timelines that are inverted and helping support the controlling mechanism of this inverted dark web that creates a synthetic reality. A lot of that is also generated by, you've probably heard me talk about the spider energy. I had a really interesting couple of experiences in the last week that interlaces with this. The spider energy is what creates the web of interference or keeps people in like a frequency fence of looping and not being able to move forward. Comes through people, it comes through trauma. Often there's like small minion little spider energies or entities that generally find their way into the stomach or the solar plexus. They manipulate the mind, they keep looping thoughts and patterns. And I'm forever I feel like it. No, that's a embellishment, but I feel like I'm forever sort of cleaning that up, along with other different types of beings. But right now, it feels like a real high prime time of these energies trying to latch on. So there's a lot of clearing. Even in the last week or two, doing client sessions with people that I'm familiar with their energy field, it was astounding to me how many Klingon energy attachments there were in their field, which is not normal. And these people have really good, energy practice and hygiene under normal circumstance. So I think throw in an eclipse, throw in all the things that are happening globally, throw in like a real push that we're being asked to empty out any remnants of what we may be holding that's non-compatible to this new reality. And it creates a whole shit show of distorted frequencies. But the good thing is they clear really quickly. It's not like it was before. It might sit and linger for, you know, stupid, unnecessary amounts of time. We're actually in a very fast-paced cleanup right now. So the dismantling of the dark web, which is the face, or yeah, the face of the interference or distortion energy. I had a couple of visitations from some of these larger spider beings, and we all know how I feel about them. And this time I was driving home and I was actually in a really good mood. And I was driving home and one just came right up into my face. And I was really unimpressed. And I was like, what do you want? What do you want? And it was the first time I'd actually kind of asked that question. So the reason for me telling you this is often if we have a repetitious attachment, energy, program, recurring situation, whatever it is that where keeps coming back, sometimes we need to break it down and ask why. Like, and often, surprisingly, it's not what we think. And just by asking really good questions, we can actually get to the bottom of it to clear it for good. So, funnily enough, when I asked the question why, this being said to me, I actually need your help. And I was like, what? And it showed me this creation story about how these beings had been, which I was already aware of, how they had come into this universe through almost like a wormhole. And originally they were beings that were just creator beings. They would web creational, threads that created this geometry patterns that life could be sustained and held by. And coming, I get chills. I don't know why this almost makes me emotional. They too kind of got caught in the black goo, if you want to call it that, the distorted frequency, and have been sort of hijacked and utilized for their abilities and skills to weave this repetitious, almost entrapment web, not a web of creation. And so as I was communing with with this being, it was like I asked, like, why, how come every time I lie down to, have an evening peaceful night's sleep or something to that effect, like, why is it that, often, and she's like, because I feel like you're one of the only people that can help me. You have the ability to see me. And I think that is true in so many people who are seers is, sometimes we have a role of responsibility because we can perceive in the unseen that we can work with helping support transition some of these that have been trapped. And pretty much that's always the case with any sort of being or entity. If you go back to its original creator story, they're very rarely are they fully malevolent. At some point during their experience, they've had a trauma or a high, and it's like I often have, God, I'm going on a, I'm actually going on a, I don't know why I need, when we're looking at removing and clearing these types of energy imprints or distort layers, it's like going right into the heart of it, especially with entities, like asking the questions and then going into the heart of it to re-invoke or reignite the light, to flip something from that potentially could be quite harmful, malevolent, to back to benevolent, or to give it the opportunity to return back to its home so it can be restored. So when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the much bigger, if we're looking at a hierarchical chain, the much bigger beings, spider beings, because the onflow effect of that is that there's a lot of smaller beings that are infused with AI that don't have a consciousness. This one did. A lot of them are just kind of, not so much drone, but yeah, they don't have a consciousness. They have a job and they're sort of controlled by malevolent forces to keep people in mental looping patterns and stuff, and something to that effect. So I didn't mean to go into such detail about them, but obviously, that might give some context and understanding whether it's about that or something else. So you can apply it perhaps to something else that you might be chipping away at. So that's what I have witnessed is happening in real time, is the collapsing of that structure. And that is because the beings that have been operating in replicating and creating that now are coming to the point where the light's hitting them and they want to be released from subject to that. They've been trapped in the control web matrix as well. So it's slowly, and I feel like this process is ongoing. It's certainly not a one and done, but it is in progress. And what is contributing and helping support that process is, at the same time we're igniting the light grid in real-time physicality. Now, this has been a process that we've all been working diligently on for many, many years, is like weaving the light grid, recoding and creating the new reality. But now what it feels like is it's actually accessible in real-time tangibility, where I've noticed just this whole plethora of this connection, like reestablishing. It's either like a reconnection with someone that you might not have been in connection for a while, or it's reconnection with like kindred souls or people who share a similar path or mission, people who are in sync with you in that harmonic state. And what is happening as we're connecting, whether it be in the physical or through internet or in the ethers, we're reinforcing, weaving this magical light of new consciousness that's available and becoming online and more available. And it's like as we sink in and we access it, it's activating and it's kind of rippling. And it's like this whole, dark web completely dissolving. We're restructuring, coding it. And what it's doing is opening all these pathways for projects and collaborations in ways that we've been knowing of, or in knowledge of, where it's very decentralized. So the good thing about everything deconstructing right now is it is impetus to be able to empower our own co-creative abilities to make sure that we're in full self-mastery of our own energy. And in that process, we are, rippling and syncing up and teaming in forces with others. And that's really, I think, how it's designed to do. So as this energy of interference continues to dissolve, we're going to have less static in the field that's going to create disruptions like we have in the past. So that's actually incredibly exciting, to say the least. So if that hasn't shown up in your awareness yet, just know that it absolutely is in progress. um, many people are starting to, and even if it's not happening in real time, but you're feeling the call to move out of your comfort zone, to do things that you wouldn't normally do, that's this energy that we're moving into, is empowering states of the best way to move out of the matrix is to unplug energetically, because for some people, like, everyone has their own situations, and for whatever reason, if you have to still be in a job to support your family, or whatever it is, that's all okay. It's just not allowing the energies, like the dysregulated, disharmonic energies of that old structure to impact you by taking your co-creative life force energy, or to throw you off your path in whatever that looks like. It's, we can straddle two worlds for a time being until we're, ejected. And I'm sure many of you could probably relate to that one as I say that, but it's powerful. It's powerful and palpable what's happening. And what I feel has happened sort of maybe mid to late January through February is a lot of way showers, or what would be considered way showers, are what a lot of people who have been diligently and strong on their path for quite some time have had their initiations or wobbles or fine tuning cleanups, fine tuning in their cleanup to propel them to stabilize into the next bandwidth of frequency of where they're being called to. So leveling up in their path, their mission, their work. Um, Others are now being called to really jump into, that space holder where it's at, as one group of bandwidth levels up, then it creates space for the next, and everyone's sort of taking that tier jump up. And there's a lot of supportive, really supportive energies behind that. So what I've been witnessing is maybe in the more mainstream collective, not as intense personal initiations, but it's for that top tier, if you want to call it that, bandwidth, that are piercing through a whole threshold of reality space. There's, whether it's an internal process or external or both, it's like that whatever's come in to realign you is creating like a spearhead, if you will, to pierce through and access more of what is being that is coming in this new harmonic phase, this new frequency that we're at, which is really the empowered state of knowing yourself on the deepest soul level, being empowered and being inspired to create. So the artwork that I've created this month is very much based around that. I was almost shocked because when I asked, like, what are some of the colors or themes for March, I literally saw, I got dizzy then. Ooh, it's big energy. Um, Magenta, pink, hot pink, magenta. And I was like, really? That really surprised me, because normal, it's not really my specific color, although it does come from time to time for very specific reasons. That's what wanted to come through, this combination of magenta, a little bit of gold, and then this combination of blue and green that creates it's an iridescent frequency, and how I was shown working with it is the pink within ignites the love, the passion, the purpose, the soul integrity of the high heart of what the purpose and mission is of this lifetime, and either igniting it for the first time or reigniting it if you felt a slight disconnect, or exploding it, if you will, in the best possible way, to really move up a notch or two in your own internal frequency bandwidth, and how you're going to utilize that to access the new frequency and ripple it into creation and work with that. So in the process of that, we want to make sure or go through that, be refined so that we don't have any tethers or plugs or attachments that would be draining or leaking our energy. That is probably the most important part, because for a long time, and you've heard me probably speak about this before, is like we get that explosion of creative idea, and then all of a sudden it just disappears. And that's part of these energetic cords and plugins that are kind of diluting it or siphoning it. So it's like making sure that our field is really solid, and then working with this incredible energy that is available and becoming more and more available to us. Whew. All right. So super excited about this one. I have a couple of events in March. So I already mentioned the 3-3 Reclaim Your Power. That will be available as an online soul activation. For those of you who are in Melbourne, there'll be another Skywatch event. This is going to be my birthday edition. It is my birthday month in March, and we're in Pisces season. I believe there's like most of the planets in Pisces. I haven't looked at it properly. So we're in some watery energy. We're in some very ethereal energies. I hope that you're all enjoying that. It can be tricky to navigate at times. But on Saturday, the 14th of March, I think from 7 or 7:30 p.m. onwards, I'll be hosting a Skywatch meetup and this is a free event in Melbourne. All the details will be on of the location on available via the website. So just sign up and grab it. Even though it's free, grab a ticket so I know who's coming. And this will be my birthday edition. Last month was incredible. We had a great group. We had so much activity happening in the sky. There was like ships galore, and everyone had such a powerful experience that was quite individual to them. So if you want to come, we just bring snacks. We bring dogs if they're friendly with other dogs. We bring snacks and just some towels, and we just sit out, and it's a magical, magical evening. So we've got that. And then on Equinox is my favorite energetic portal or time of the entire year. I think it's the most powerful because it's really about when we're tipping over into the astrological new year. And it really feels like, if you haven't felt the new energies kick into gear into full throttle, it's like from Equinox and beyond, that's that gateway that you really want to utilize. So I'm actually going to be holding a in-person event in Brisbane on Saturday, the 21st of March, and this will be in the evening time. The location, everything is to be announced. I'll probably announce that in the next week or so. And I'll also be live streaming it so that anyone who's not in Brisbane can also attend. This will be a 2 hour, probably more of a soul activation workshop. It's quite in depth. And this is going to be called, or based around, it's called Soul Immersion or Equinox Soul Immersion. And it's about the remembrance and the mission. And this is really a catalytic process to really be able to, basically all the things I've been talking about, come into the full power of your own frequency in different aspects of you, and get really, really clear on the mission that is awaiting for you. So I'm super excited. what I will say is I'll put my email in the description box. So if you are in Brisbane, and you'd like to come and hang out with me and be a part of the in-person workshop, give me an email just to express your interest. And once that becomes available, I will certainly email you and give you all the details. And I would love to share that sacred space on that very, very auspicious day. So powerful, powerful. And I just saw before I got on and recorded this that it's literally the next day that Mercury goes out of retrograde. I personally don't have an issue with Mercury retrograde. I've touch wood. I've sailed through it all my life. I don't Me and Mercury have a good relationship. um, and for those who are into astrology, my Mercury is in Pisces, so I am, a psychic sponge and antenna, and that's where the placement is at right now. But it feels kind of fitting that it goes out of retrograde the very next day. So um, to do this event in person, and also to offer it through a replay and live stream on Equinox is honestly probably my greatest excitement to offer. So all the details will be available soon. Keep an eye out. This is just like a snapshot disclaimer, but we do have Equinox, and I really believe that that sets the tone for the year to come. And every equinox I've noticed, it's like there is this almost like a 2 or 3 day gateway where there's just this huge influx of light. And I kind of, through the inspiration of hosting this, I saw like a preview to that of like this wave of influx of has like a golden iridescent energy to it, and it has what we'll get into later. It has those frequencies of the high heart activation, the soul purpose, and being able to understand in very tangible, practical ways how to integrate that, embody that, and work with it so that it becomes a reality. Like it becomes your living experience, your energy and frequency attuned to that. And then you able to kind of create that in all its magnificent glory. So anyway, that's where we're at. um, yeah, when I cast in, especially that week feels so potent and powerful between the around the 21st to the 28th. So just keep that in mind as we progress and track into almost said May. March and May, since we got into 2026, March and May seem to be like the real explosive, like big markers of catalytic energy that are supporting our own, soul and human evolution. Whew, okay, I'm just running through my notes. I'm like, where are we? Are we? Okay. So we just want to touch on the masculine aspect and the recoding of what's happening into the body. So if you remember going back last eclipse, so around September last year, there was this whole sort of body and big timeline choice points and shifts. I spoke about it extensively because I had a lot of physical discomfort, and I was told that between that eclipse and this one was that everything would kind of start to self-regulate again, which is beautiful that that has happened. But I've noticed these incremental body flare-ups that not just I'm having, but a lot of people have having. And it can be aches and pains in the joints. It can be whole entire left or right sides. I mean, it can be so many different things, but there is an energetic recoding pattern. And I was very privileged to join in-person live light language session in Melbourne with Michael Muir just a few weekends ago. And he provided such a beautiful space, and it was so nice to receive. I was like, oh my God, I'm always doing this for others. It was so nice to just be in that space of being receiving all the energies that were coming through. But what happened, I had such a profound experience during that. And it's happened incrementally around that time as well. There's this whole right side recoding. And I feel like what I'm tapping into is beyond me. I feel it's happening in the greater collective field. And I've certainly seen it in incremental like sessions here and there, but it's if we're looking at the right side being the masculine, the left side being the feminine, the right side is where we move forward, the left is the past. If you take this as an embodiment of the collective energy, what I was seeing happening within me was my whole right side was in matrix coding. Now, how I see that visually is just like the matrix, it's like that bright green number coding sequence pattern, kind of quite mechanical or computer-esque, but only literally on one side of my body. And that was happening. And what I was seeing was the igniting that was happening within me of the template coming online was literally going through this process of collapsing and recoding. So I think what my body kind of went through in that experience is kind of a representation of what the greater collective energies are moving through, and it may be more impactful to our masculine aspect, or it could be more impactful to the masculine energy of this deep purification and recalibration. And as I was seeing the matrix coding going through, it was literally going offline. So it would go from that green color and all the number sequence, and then it would go offline. And then like power down, pause, and then it would power up and it would recode in this light blue frequency, which is how I interpret the organic. So it's like, so, and once that whole happened, that whole process happened energetically, my physical body that was carrying discomfort started to have ripples of vibration through it, and it completely clicked in this unified position, and all the nuances of the weird pains and the pings completely disappeared. So there's a lot to say about energy work when it comes to the physical body, and what we're removing or releasing out of outdated old coding. So speaking about that, obviously, I'm just going to touch on a little bit more of the relationship repatterning. So that, if you imagine that's happening collectively, it's happening within each of us to varying degrees, and it can look different. It doesn't have to be as I just described, but obviously this is happening. What I've been doing probably the most amount of divine counterpart soul sessions I've done in a really long time, and that's when I know there's big changes afoot happening in relationships. And probably one of the most common themes that I've been working with is removing or reverting the distorted overlay of the shared energy. And so what I mean by that is you have your body, your energy field, the other person has you, them and their energy field. And then as a relationship forms, there's a shared energy and frequency. What happens is, unfortunately, is there is an energy of interference that comes in and muddles the field, and that pings people against each other, especially if they have the capacity when they're in alignment to really create a positive ripple effect, or, put positive energy charge through not just the energy, but in physicality. And what it does is it heightens the traumas and the things that you are designed to work through. Because let's face it, every relationship has things to learn and grow and evolve from, right? And that's a purpose, one of the main purposes of relationship. And then you get to that point where you can like really harmonize, and then it becomes this alchemical, incredible process. But what we've been dealing with for so many years is these distorted interference energy overlays. So what happens is that comes into the shared energy field, and it just creates conflict and separation, and trying to be careful with my words here, but it creates a lot of conflict and arguments. It can to its height, like extreme, it can become really volatile and violent in its most extreme ways, but it has this way of just pitting you against one another and frying out your nervous system. And this is not a natural energy. This is an energy that is intentionally messing with two people to siphon from the the despair, the disharmony, the friction, the sadness, the hopelessness, the anger. It's really insidious energy. And I've been aware of it for many, many years. I've come up against it in many different forms. I help support people to, you know, move and shift it out. And I probably don't talk about this enough. But when you're able to clear that energy overlay out of the shared field, and that's what I do in those sessions, or that's one thing I can do in session. I work with the two energy fields in that. Then you come back to just the two and to be able to work through whatever's coming up without this blaring, exacerbated, in your face, screaming discomfort that doesn't actually allow you to get to sorting out whatever's coming up. All it does is like screams distraction and looping and repetitious of not being able to come out of this web, essentially. So it's really a lot of spider energies that distort it. And it can come through one of the individuals, it can come through both of the individuals, it can slip in, often when there's a big fight or there's there's a big sort of blow up. Sometimes it can happen where it slips in the beginning of the relationship. And I think the other component is that kind of darker element of that spider energy loves the code of the union energy. So it's always kind of seeking that out. But I won't go into that for now. It's a whole other storyline. But what I really want to share is like being aware of when it is your own patterns and things that you need to work through, and knowing that there are other energies or entities at play that are exacerbating the situation, that isn't being able to resolve or harmonize anything. It's just keeping you at odds. When you remove that, it's amazing how you can just go back to being able to communicate, being able to express, being able to move through and get to that next level as, as a pair. Um, so I've been really devoted in my work to helping support that. And I feel like we're at some really pivotal times. What I was shared or what I was shown in my dream space when I woke up, and that comes back to some of the messages I had written down on my phone. Um, oh, I woke up from dream space and I heard the relationship of the healing relationships that have been going through the turbulent times will be restored by the 28th of this month. And I feel like that's on the energetic template level, but I do feel like it's just opening up a pathway for a lot of things just to click into place. And sometimes when we do, it's like, and it makes sense to me as we're moving through one eclipse into the other, because I feel like what often happens in relationships and partnerships is one will go through a very intense level up, and often another one might be lagging behind a little bit. And it's like one will jump and then there'll be an out of alignment friction that takes place for a certain time. And then all of a sudden you both sync and you both meet in that next space. And I feel like that's a big part of what is playing out. But I would have to say it, this feels like probably one of the bigger ones that I've witnessed in a very, very long time. And it feels like what it's doing is it's correcting a lot of um, there's been a lot of harmfully distorted meddling energies that have been keeping relationships apart, and we're really breaking down that this year because I feel like this year is a big year for harmonization of and the restoration of right relationship. And I think as we move through March, April, I think we're going to start to see huge progress in that. So, all right, so we've got that. I think I'm almost at the end of all my notes. Oh, I just wanted to touch on the distorted energies becoming worse on weekends. I wrote a whole post around that. I don't know how much more I can say, but if you haven't read the post, I was just touching on how exactly what I've just mentioned about relationships and the energies, they seem to be really heightened and on overdrive during weekends. So it's like people are at home, sometimes like if they're unhappy, it exacerbates that. It's not being worked through. Those energies are having an absolute field day. Then people might get on different substances for whatever, just to like decompress. But then obviously it's attracted by more energies and entities. It just, I've noticed this pattern for quite some years, and it feels like on the weekends, that is when these relationship energies get really, or sorry, I should say the interference around relationship energies gets really exacerbated. But another key component to it, it may not be what I've just expressed, another key component to it is there is a lot of interdimensional warring and battling and cleaning up, and these sort of missions that we are operating in multidimensionally that tend to really happen primarily on weekends. It may not be every weekend, but if you're going to go through one of those phases where you feel like your consciousness isn't really operating here, it's very hard to get things done, it's like you're really foggy, having all sorts of weird bodily sensations, and you're kind of dizzy and out of it. And it's like you have vivid dreams, or have the awareness of there's stuff happening, but you can't quite access it. Even while you're walking around during the day, it feels like that's a big part of what also occurs on weekends, is that warring energy of the cleanup that's taking place as we close out this final phases. Those that are sensitive to it can feel that, even though there's no context in it, right? You could be sitting at home by yourself, minding your own business all weekend, but you can still feel the energetic overlays of what's happening in the field. That feels sort of like a warring, like aggressive, clouded, convoluted, uncomfortable, very uncomfortable energy to sit in. So what I would recommend is this whole concept of just being able to meditate clear and really solidify yourself in the diamond sphere or field that you're holding in your own frequency, so that you can be aware of things but not allowing it to like merge with your field. So you're kind of staying strong in that, whether it's a sphere or a geometry shape. I like to use the diamond shape specifically. For me, I feel that's really powerful, but that really, really helps. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. All right, two more points. Um, uh, Sleep state. So what I've noticed is these disturbance energies, in whatever degree, seem to come in more when we have our guard down, of course, when we're a little bit more vulnerable. Um, I noticed this morning, this is just real time. I had a lot of what I would consider lower astral dreams, really distorted timelines, nonsensical dreams, lots of dreams of past relationship have quite highlighted. Um, and I'm talking about relationships that go like decades back, like but I've noticed that coming out of that, there's like a real disturbance in the energetic sphere or field. And I did a quick scan into my body, and I was actually pulling out energetic implants that had come into either my sacral area, stomach area via the dream, like via the astral state. So it's like it kind of got planted in there, and as my energy merges back as I wake up, it's setting off like a disturbance in sort of. So I had once I did my morning sort of ritual of all my exercise and meditation, I did that scan because I was like, what is that? And so it was just a reminder that sometimes if we're working and operating different realms, sometimes we're pulling things in via our energy bodies, and we just need to scan and clear so that it's not impacting us here, so we can get done what we need to in this sort of real-time physical reality and get on our path. I think that's all. Oh, okay. The final thing is I've noticed that there is as we're going through what feels like another massive reemergence, I'll call it that, a reemergence of soul frequency coming in. It's like the most authentic, soul authentic version coming online, the one that has the map or the blueprint, if you will, of what it is that you're here to do in this time. As that ignites from within, and by the amplification of the energies that are coming in, that powerful combination, there can be pockets of grief coming up around the death of your old self or old identities or old versions or timelines collapsing. So if you're feeling sad or going through a grief phase, or it could even be a loss or a grief around people in your life that you're out of sync with, it might be that they're going through that process. Um, Sometimes knowing that the grief process of mourning can be just of old versions of you that are essentially dissolving. So be gentle with yourself if that is something that might be coming up. It's just creating space for extra expansion is essentially what is happening. Um, so I'm going to wrap it all up there. That's a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of themes, there's a lot of things happening. I am offering sessions. I have opened my diary um, for individual sessions. If you feel like you need additional one-on-one support, you can connect with me in that capacity. I would love to help support you. And of course, all the different events that I mentioned, everything will be in the description box. So I really look forward to engaging and connecting with you on some capacity, even if it's in the comment section. I love that too. So now, without further ado, we're going to get on to the intuitive insight guidance. I hope that you enjoy the artwork that I've created. So this is A. You see the color themes for March. I'm so excited. It's my birthday month. I'm going to be celebrating in all different capacities this entire month. But this is B. And then we have C. So choose whatever one you feel drawn to the most. And we're going to go into a bit of deep dive into the intuitive reads. All right, so let's dive right into A. So if you've chosen this artwork here, this will be your reading for March or whenever you find it, really. Sometimes they can be quite timeless, these readings. So I'm going to, oh, interesting. I'm just at the bottom of We've got the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck just as I pick it up. So when I feel into this card, the first things that sort of come up or in and around me is a feeling a sense of completion, a feeling a sense of when we look into the actual spiral itself, where we come in right into the core of it and then we pop through. So that's how I see it, is like often our pathways or journeys go on this spiral sequence where we reinvestigate different aspects that come up repetitively until we get right into the core. And then once we get into the core, we're able to pop right through into a new experience where we take all that wisdom of experience with us from the previous cycle, but we're not rehashing the old loop, if you know what I mean. So it feels like this month gives you such a great opportunity to be able to exit out of, I always want to say exit out of the matrix. Exit out of that matrix that you have been operating in from a frequency bandwidth perspective. So I really feel like I'm actually seeing a tunnel with a white light. Oh, the tunnel with the white light. I mean that in more of the sense of like coming to being able to see the end of a situation or a scenario or a journey or just a culmination of many things, it feels like, of being able to like move through that passageway and enter into a space within yourself and externally. It feels like it's both, that is much more rejuvenating, much more relaxing, much more peaceful, and conducive to who you truly are. It's like your frequency or vibration wants to match internally. It's like, and it gives you doorways of opportunity that you wouldn't have previously aligned with or previously had the opportunity to team with or partner with or collaborate with or have the insight to choose your new own adventure. This feels like a operating like it hasn't come out, but I kind of see the traditional Fool in the tarot deck. It's like really starting out on a whole brand new adventure of, because I keep seeing the word independence coming up. So it's like being able to be independently self-sufficient in yourself. It's like, so it might be dropping old programs or contracts of codependency where that hasn't been serving you. It feels like inner sustainability. And just as a disclaimer, there is a thunderstorm going on right above me. So if you hear that or you hear my dog, Parky's not so fond of thunderstorms, but hopefully we'll get through this all right. So I'm just having a look at the cards that are being presented in front. We've got a couple here. That's over here. I'm going to put them. So we've got two swords. I feel like I'm going to read the swords first. Then we've got, because this feels like multiple areas of your life. This doesn't feel like it's just one aspect of your life. It feels like lots of threads. So it might be work or business or children or relationship. It feels like there's lots of interesting. Look at this. Sorry, I just got distracted. I was about to say multiple spheres of aspects of your life that have been maybe not fully realized. It's like you've put a bit of energy into one aspect and then, you've gone off and you've worked on something else, and it's like all these different components or aspects that have had bursts of ideas. It feels like being able to pop through into this new expression of yourself enables you to be filled so you can put the flow and effect into all the different aspects and elements in a rejuvenation sense. Like this is a renewal. And it was just like I saw this card here and see all the spheres. And that even is very similar to my concept of when we work on multiple realities. So when we're operating in different parallels, I see them as spheres that are connected into our consciousness. And what we're actually doing is we're unifying the pathways. This is like probably the best visual representation I've actually seen of that. I didn't even realize it was on this card. We'll get into the meaning of the card in a second, but it's like, how many have we got? It's 6, isn't it? Yeah. So 6 that supercharge into the 7th. If you look at all these of different aspects of you, of facets of your own consciousness that have been dispersed, culminating and fusing together to unify, to give you that exuberant spark of light to push you into that next bandwidth. And it's like in that, when you flip over into that next version, of your life experience. Huh. It's you have the ability to access ideas or opportunities or insights or clarity or connections that were previously not on your timeline. It feels like a huge quantum jump in this so, so powerfully. So I'm just having a look at here. What have we got going on here? We've got the moon, we've got Venus, we've got well, it's the Six of Pentacles. So it's like it really is all the different types of opportunities to co-create with your magic, your essence, to be able to bring in different levels of prosperity and abundance, or not even just that. It can be also the resources. Like that word resources feels quite powerful in that. And yeah, so we've got a hexagram. Um, Yellow circle represents the sun, and we got the rose across it in the center of the pattern, linking the creation. So the astrological symbols for moon and Taurus appear in the center of the card. I thought there was more in there. All right, so we've got the sun, we've got moon, Taurus. And so, oh, I love this. So the upright meaning resolution of issues, bringing prosperity. What was I saying? Now is the time to manifest your ideas. Success is at hand. So it is quite an abundant, successful time for you. So utilize the momentum of the energy of this month. And like, if just, I can't get over how much, if you want to connect with me for a quantum merging, this is part of what we do in these. I'm like, I'm so excited. This is all the geometry and I love it with the moon. So if we're looking at the moon, obviously that's the emotional. Oh yeah, I can see the Taurus symbol there now. When we're looking at the moon is how we work with our emotional body. And I think that our emotional body is one of the most powerful influences on our co-creative and manifestation abilities to work with that. And the sign of Taurus obviously is very Venusian influenced, right? Its governing is Venus, and it's when I think about Taurus, I think of things materializing into physical, prosperity and abundance and possessions or resources that we need. So this also may have a bearing that whatever you're pushing through and moving through now comes into kind of sort of manifestation or materialization during Taurus season, which would put us halfway through April into May in that period of time. So it might be this lead up that's really pivotal of this month into the next. So we've got the 2 and the 6 of swords. So this feels part of what's being flushed out the door. I almost said flushed down the toilet. the mental conflict energies. Oh, that just wanted to the at odds, the friction within self, the internal battling, the energetic mimicking. Interesting. That wanted to pop through. Whatever energetic mimicking has been in your reality through others that haven't been shown up in their truest, authentic version. That mimicry. Interesting. It's like that synthetic overlay that I was talking about in the energy update. That's dissolving and coming out or moving out of your reality. We've also got the Libra sign here in the 2 of Swords. So the balance, justice. I know that we're in really high times of a reclamation of justice being kind of rebalanced. So, I mean, potentially it could be legal issues, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It could just be an injustice of things that you feel are unjust or out of balance in your life, trying to reharmonize and find a standpoint where things are back in order and alignment. So it may be things like parting the seas, things being removed out of your field that aren't part of where you're heading and moving essentially. And then we've got the Six of Swords. So we've got the Aquarius symbol here and Saturn. Okay. And we've got lots of different. Isn't that interesting? We've got the six, so the six levels of the merging and the opportunity. But this is almost like the experience of the inverted of the six opposing forces or program. It could just be internal programs, childhood repetitious, like I'm not good enough. Um, Whatever's been playing out loudly in your field that's wanting attention, that I feel is coming to a peak or a head that you can be able to pinpoint. Like it's almost like that's the button that sets off this whole chain of reaction that then creates dysfunction or disharmony or disservice to productive movement forward. That feels like, because when I look at the center point, see the flower there and the color, the magenta, it's like you able to access that button within your high heart that you just kind of eject yourself out of like that matrix maze and like, no, we're moving forward. Whew. No, I don't feel that one's relevant. We have the other card here that came out, I think it was first or second. We've got the Ace of Cups. So emotional new beginnings. And it's like it flows onto what I was talking about there's like a downpouring or influx of light energy that's really supportive to you this month that then overflows into other aspects of your life that really strengthen and amplify whatever it is that you're working on in your life, projects, partnerships. It feels multifaceted. It doesn't feel like it's just one aspect. It's enriching all the aspects because they're interwoven, they're interconnected, and they're relevant to. It's like, it might be your focus point might be on a project or a business or work, but it's like if some of your relationships are out of balance and it's like it's creating a friction of frequency within you that's a disharmonious that needs recalibrating. It's like as that recalibrates, everything else has this ease of fluidity and motion. All right, so I'm just going to go now to the ET Experience Oracle deck. This is Miesha Johnston's deck. So shout out to her. She does amazing work in the SSP Super Soldier MK Ultra. She does support groups and all sorts of incredible things. It has been for many, many years. All right. They're not jumping out. Oh, yep, there we go. I got one. Interesting. We've got ooh, consider regression. Your subconscious remembers more. It's funny, I didn't, I'll show the card in a second. I didn't see the clock on that one. And instantly I wanted to say time travel. There's some element of time travel or time jumping, quantum jumping, something your consciousness that has been operating in, coming to a close or winding down. And that might be part of this, like moving through that, that gateway where there's, more light. It's like almost if I view through that sort of like dark tunnel and there's a light that you can see at the end of it, it's like as you move through it, everything has a more brighter, more vibrant potency to it, real power and like real beautiful energies. Centaurus. You've encountered beings from Centaurus. All right, I'm just gonna. I think that I'll have to double check, but Centaurus, I think, is an abbreviation of Alpha Centauri. I'm actually going to double check that one. It's not one in my usual awarenesses. But the other card that we also have, I'm looking through Orion and Taka, got all the cosmic Lyra. um, Here we go. Ah, yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay. We have a little bit of a yes, yeah, Alpha Centaurians. Yes, that is correct. Interesting. They're not normally in my wheelhouse, but they're humanoid and resemble humans now found on Earth. Males are muscular, well-proportioned, blonde, brown, and black hair. Eyes are slightly Asian in shape, rounded. They can come in a variety of colors. Almost they vary from 8 to 6 feet tall. Originally progenitors of Earth, amongst others. Yes. Oh, their genes were used to create us. Okay, so it's really going back to the genesis of our. Oh, that's interesting. Their main line or the group of people that have most of their genes are the Irish. So if you have it, I do, if you have an Irish ancestry fused in there somewhere. But yeah, Alpha Centaurians, evidently known for their community as redhead race, freckles, Irish, Italian, Scandinavians. The characteristics, they're excellent bringers of groups and diverse sentience. They're harmonizers to achieve, interesting, yeah, peaceful, harmonious manner in groups. So that might be very, very specific for someone because that one just flew out. But yeah, so I'm going to show we've got the time travel one there. It might be you might be having an experience communicating with another aspect of yourself. But you see, it says consider regression. So you might want support in delving into whatever wants to connect or come through. It feels like there may be an aspect of you, higher self related or cosmically, that wants to share important information, perhaps. But we also have the hybrid children. So you spend time with ET human children. That can be very more relatable in a much more wider sense, I feel, that one. Hybrid children can be just like we were talking about the genetics. So it might be really about understanding who you are from the genetic perspective, both human base, like genetics, and also cosmic soul lineage genetics. That might be part of the remembrance that kind of allows you to be able to propel you forward. So we've got past life contactee. You've made direct contact in past lives. I would say that might be more parallel related. So there is some level of contact of some sort of, doesn't necessarily have to be ET related. It can be, I feel or sense it's more like higher being, but it feels like an aspect of you that wishes to connect with you deeply. So the Equinox soul immersion is about part of that, about connecting those aspects. So the details will be in the description box. We'll be hosting it live in Brisbane if you're up in Queensland way, but it'll also be live streamed as well. So anyone can join. Oh, okay. What have we got here? The cards are flying out. Oh, I'm loving this. We've got Wheel of Fortune and the High Priestess. So it really comes into that whole thing. Oh, sorry. The Wheel of Fortune. So completing a very important particular cycle and moving into. So you may not have a lot of clarity right now on where you're moving into, and that's okay. But I feel like it's going to become quite clear to you as we move into the month of March and beyond. The high priestess are really reclaiming that feminine goddess frequency of connecting to the ethers, the intuition, heightening your senses, being able to, oh, oh yeah, we've got the Empress. Oh my God, we've got that High Priestess and the Empress. So fertility and sensuality. So there might be really birth creational energy around you. Doesn't always, fertility isn't always about necessarily birthing children, although it can be.
And that, you know, but it's, oh, oh, we've got the justice card again. Having justice, rebalancing the scales, wrongs being rewritten or rebalanced. We've got 10 of cups. So completing. So we've got the beginning, we've got ace and the 10 of cups. So there is definitely overtones of signifying really positive shifts in your emotional fulfillment and relationship aspects of your life. Oh, we've even got the 9 of cups, personal fulfillment, filling up your cup emotionally so it can overflow. And this is the other card that's come out. So it was at the bottom of the deck. I saw it as I picked up this. We've got the 6 of coins, which is the 6 of pentacles. We've got it double. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm getting excited here. We've got the unexpected windfall, unexpected help. So really pay attention to connecting with the signs and the synchronicities of what your higher intelligence, whether you call it higher self, whoever you commune with, wants to prompt you to be able to help you navigate through what's coming down the pipeline for you this month. It's really setting the stage of where you're heading in a really profound trajectory. This feels very purposeful in like what you've come here to achieve, what you've come here. I accidentally paused it. What you've come, sorry, I was just saying what you've come here to achieve. It feels, it's like, I want to say no pressure, but it feels quite big for you. So it might be an energy that you might need support with kind of grounding or anchoring because it feels like where you're at or what your experience of reality is right now and where you're expanding into is like it's kind of like here to here, you know, it's like this big jump, but it will feel comfortable. I do feel it's like this jump feels very comfortable to where you're headed because on a soul level you've already written this, you already know, but it's like moving through the human nuances of experience to be able to embody that and to be able to hold space for that as you move and walk through it. So I'm going to leave that there for the moment. If you want to connect with me, all the details will be in the description box below, the different ways, all the events and different types of offerings. If not, thank you for being here and I look forward to connecting with you next video. All right. Mm. Let's move into B, shall we? So this little beauty here, if you can see, like the iridescence going on here. If you've chosen this card, this will be your, oh, I feel like I'm going to pick from this. Oh, it feels like a bit of a different energy going on in this card. I feel all of a sudden just like, ooh, it's like drop down an octave. Not in a bad way, just like a sinking or settling in. Just taking a sip here. Mm. Gratitude. So this is the Magdalene Oracle by Toni, Carmine, Salerno. These are my old trusty favorites. This is probably one of the original decks that I've had since probably 2007 or 8. I used to know every card off by heart. That's how they are very well loved. They have traveled every continent and every journey, soul journey, the beloved. Mm. Well, there's a lot of light language coming through. You can feel all this code and as I picked that beloved card, I'm going to show you that it was like all of a sudden I felt all this energy just come into my heart. So it's like just take a moment right now, just take a pause and like tune into that frequency of love or beloved or soul kindred connection or however you relate to it. but it's like just taking a pause because it feels like that. And then obviously we've got the gratitude card. So just taking a moment of pause to like feel into maybe it's gratitude, maybe it's love, maybe it's inner connection, maybe it's just that sense of being held or feeling safe or belonging, that sense of home that so many people talk about. So it might just be a frequency of home that you've witnessed or connected within through another, but it's reactivating or allowing that remembrance to ripple through you. It feels like there's almost like a transmission that wants to come through. Woo, there's a lot of, I can see a lot of Arcturian like beings, interdimensional beings. There's like a lot of luminous beings that are kind of gathering in and around. It's, oh, okay, just a bit unexpected, but it's almost like guiding or prompting, like wherever you are, if it's possible, it's almost like wanting you to lay down flat on the floor. And as I move through this reading, if it's possible, and maybe you might come back to it, I don't know, but it's just, and this might be something that you do throughout the month of March. Take it as it applies to you. But it's like allowing the code that's coming through me to sink in and activate and swirl in. And it's like sort of through the codon of your DNA wants to be expressed, that is coming from that very place of origin, that, and what I'm seeing is that the origin of where the soul shock happened or the separation first occurred, where that sits within your body and your heart or high heart, throat, wherever you feel that, oh my God, that deep longing or sadness, where or when that ever comes up, that then creates an air or element of frustration at times through the guidance of my words, through this energy guidance infusion, just allowing yourself to give that up because it wants to be let go of. I'm seeing it as like a black sphere that almost wants to, like what I call error code. So when we talk about light codes and they're light and fluffy and buzzy and activating, this is what has been inverted, an error code, a code that holds distortion or sadness or trauma from a soul level. It's like that's got to go, it's got to come up and out and be looked at and recognized for what it is, because it serves you up until this point, but it no longer serves you to carry it forward. It wants to be alchemized so that it can return back into light and give you peace and serenity and calm and that. So it's like throughout the month, make sure you take the opportunities to be able to lie on the earth still, whether it's inside on a yoga mat or out on, and give it up and allow that process of what wants to come back into you and restore your point of origin, alchemy, love, reassurance, hope. It wants to, it want like this energy of that sacred union that we hold wants to be restored within your own field so deeply. Oof, we've got past life. Now, I just want to say, because this has popped into my head, this may be relevant for you, but if you are in counterpart on a counterpart journey, this might also be about what someone else is going through that's connected to you. Take it as it applies. But there's definitely past life energy at play here. And in the usual context of that card, it's like pay attention to your dreams. And I would almost say dreams or daydreams.
or visions or images or imagination, because that will give you clues as to like what wants to be witnessed so that it can be released, so that it can be recognized for what it has been, so it can be restored to its originality, so that you can come back into that unity consciousness that will probably change the nature of your own relationship somehow, some way. That will be very different for each individual, but take that as perhaps a confirmation of something you may have felt into already that might be changing. Letting go of the past burdens of separation. We're the Five of Swords here, the heartache, the hurt, the sorrow, the resentment, the whatever's kept you up at night, whatever's brought the tears, the emotion, the, oh, I can feel it. It's like, oh, it's like it wants to, it's like right in the core of that heart and just wants to maybe be expressed. So perhaps if it's like unspoken words, open up dialogue of communication or write it in a letter, whatever. However, that we've got Aquarian energy here. We've got the Sun of Aquarius. So very air. Well, we have the story's not done yet. Let's see what else wants to come through. It feels heavy on the back. It's almost like if I was to do an energy session, there's like stuff on the head, clouding the brain waves, thought processes. There's too much ethereal kind of mind distortion that hasn't been clear. It weighs heavy on the heart. It's like those 2 points want to be reorganized in the body, in the field. Adjustment. It's pretty fitting, isn't it? So that is the traditional judgment card, I believe. This is restoring balance and allowing things to come back into harmony and allowing the reconciliation process to occur, to allow, a restoration of inner peace. But this is also talking about being able to be in control of what you're in control of. So being able to maintain your own inner internal balance and equilibrium, masculine, feminine, and just being able to allow that to then set the tone for how various different aspects in your reality want to reshape themselves. Essentially, we've got the Pisces symbol in the center. So that's quite fitting. But it's like she's got this mask on, but she can see through it, but she's like it's like holding her and being able to hold strong and steady, knowing that each move. It's interesting that the colors here, we've got the blues and the green. So it's like the energy of the new is like permeating down and from above and from below. See the spheres in each corner that's supporting. So it's real supportive energy to kind of go through that internal shift and like inner, I almost want to call it like an inner rotation of like a internal polar shift or something. It's like whatever's been kind of cast upside down reverses so that things shift and change. So it's an inner journey so far that has lots of different components to it. And take the time to rest and sleep and nurture your body. Good meals, nature, water, or baths, what works. Nurturing the body. And really be gentle on yourself. I feel like who I'm speaking to here in this reading can be really hard, like the harsh critic. So it's like giving that love and compassion to yourself
kind of reflects in the outer layers of how other people may approach you. If you have harsh critics perhaps in your life, changing the approach to your internal dialogue will shift how others externally interact with you. I just wanted to go through. Let's see what else. By the way, these are the Thoth Millennium Tarot. Millennium Thoth Tarot, I should say. They've got real Egyptian sort of themes to them. Oh, we've got Fortune. Wheel of Fortune. Number 10. The completion of it. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm loving this. So much it's a cosmic completion. So yeah, just know that what you're closing out is a much bigger cycle than what it might appear on the surface level. We've got a crocodile, we've got a monkey, and we've got a sphinx. And we've got the sun in the center point there. Let's see how many spokes we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh yeah, of course, 10. It's number 10. X marks the spot. The collapsing of timelines is what I see in that card. We obviously got we've got the reptilian aspect or reptilian brain or frequency, but the monkey mind. So it's like collapsing all of that to sit on the top in that upright sort of sphinx feline position. So reaching the pinnacle at the end of a cycle and being on top to be able to allow it to flip and reverse in your favor and close out those many. Sometimes when I look at an image like that and we have a sphere and different spokes, I see them as each spoke represents maybe a past life or a timeline or a core issue. And when we go into them, we collapse them, we can amalgamate into one and we sort of alchemize internally. It's a really powerful process. No, I think that's it from this deck. I'm going to flip over to the ET Experiencer. Totally different tone for this one. And I also feel quite dizzy as well. I feel quite energetically a little bit discombobulated in this energy. So it's like anchor, stillness is your friend, you know, get connected to the earth, grounded, honoring the emotions, know that there is a high power at play, knowing that you are, you know, as I mentioned in the beginning, I could feel these interdimensional beings, like beings that are kind of surrounding you and supporting you and really want you to move through this transitional phase with as much grace and ease as possible. Just take a couple of deep breaths. I feel like just moving through this intuitive insights is like a bit of a healing transmission in itself. So just take a couple of deep breaths. Oh yeah, there's a lot of energy transmuting through this. UFO classroom. You partake in learning of onboard craft? That's what the card says. I would classify that in a much broader spectrum of perhaps you have different learnings or study dreams that happen while you're either meditating or sleeping that could be on board craft. I know a lot of people who have that experience, but it might be more if you don't relate to that sort of direct experience. It could be that you're having a lot of insight and wisdom to navigate this coming through when you rest and sleep and dream. Could give you a lot of clues, especially when we had that past life card as well. A lot might be naturally resolving or dissolving through dream space. So just allow that process to take place. There we go. Incoming message. Message alert. They're trying to tell you something. So I think just based on when I was saying those interdimensional beings, I do feel like there are beings that wish to communicate with you to help ease your mind, to give you some clarity, to some reassurance, some guidance. just to know that you're on the right path, that what you're moving through is part of your multi-dimensionality, that you really are closing out. So we've got the man in the circle again. So we're really closing out lots of different timelines that haven't been conducive to your highest expression. So even though it may not feel that way, what you're actually moving towards is magnificent. It's a recoding and a restructuring that's taking place. Ooh. ET spirit guide and soul contactee, you've agreed to this path from pre-birth. So now it's about coming into the remembrance of what you agreed to prior to coming in. And you have ET guides. You have beings that are probably aspects of you in higher dimensions that are wishing to connect and to communicate and come in to help support, navigate these immense, huge changes. So I'm going to wrap that one up there. But as I speak these words, just allow the sensation and the awareness in your body and where you're feeling any tension. And I just want you to be able to gently breathe that out, because essentially what you're doing is creating space for more of you to come online, to be accessed. So if you feel that you need support, please reach out and connect with me, whether it be through one-on-one sessions or some of the events that I'm hosting. I would love to support or connect with you in that capacity if that feels in alignment or helpful to you. And just remember that nature this month will really be your friend to help re-spark the magic, to get the clarity, to clear your field of what's releasing and allowing you to settle and sink back into that place of neutrality so that you can proceed forward. So I hope that that helps. I hope that's given you some sort of clarity on what you're perhaps traversing through, and just sending you heaps of love for this month. And I'll connect with you soon. All right. We're going to go into the lucky, lucky last. See. So, oh, look at that. Oh, if you have chosen this image here, $22 spokes there. 2-2. That is what I consider the realignment of the new harmonic reality in pairs. So one represents the two, so the masculine feminine, the other has the masculine feminine, creates the four. Feels a bit special actually. All right, let's dive right in and see what wants to come through for you for this month. Ace of Cups. Yeah, new beginnings, emotional, new fulfillment beginnings. Ah, I saw it when I split it, and then look what just flew out. This definitely feels like it's got love tone overtones or relationship based, let's say, and take it as it applies. And we've got the fortune. So the change of cycle, new beginning cycle in the emotional fulfillment of your own personal relationship with self and the relationship with others, and or significant other. Feels like it's just on the horizon for you. Still a few little things that want to like rework themselves, but it's like it feels like everything's like on schedule. if on a cosmic cued schedule. Okay, we've got the adjustment, which is the readjustment, the re-equilibrium, the balancing of the dark and light internally. masculine and feminine coming into play, being able to hold your own and your holding your own center. I've also got the King of Pentacles here. It's got a really grounded, solid, strong, masculine energy that feels like on a horse. So we've got the, fire horse here, but feels really sturdy and stable, like setting off. I can see the emanations of the sun behind the shield. But the shield isn't blocking the sun. I feel like it's holding a protective stance, like a buffering your own energy field. So it could be your own masculine. It could be, your inner masculine that's just holding that powerful stance of reclamation. But it's grounding something. It feels like what I feel in this energy is grounding or earthing something quite profound. Vital. I'm hearing the word vital. No, those I don't feel like I think I've done with that. I'm gonna move to this. So I'm also using the Oracle Tarot by Lucy Cavendish. This is one of the old trusty favorites. Hmm. Three of Wands. Dreams of chance. Second chances, perhaps. New opportunities. Getting a lot from that card. I can show it to you. Maybe you'll see something. Building bonds together. Creating solid like connection. Looks like the same woman. So it might be solidifying aspects of you. In the multi-dimensional dream space. Okay, got that one right. So it's like soul retrieval, bringing back aspects of you that is helping this reconvergence of right relationship theme. But the Chariot, so the inspired warrior, charging forward, moving forward, empowered, strong, strength. And we've got the High Priestess. So there's a lot of feminine energy becoming reawoken or re-inspired or empowered, it feels like. And that feels like it reaches you to new intuitive heights to access like soul memory, like soul records, even. I glimpsed on like, I guess what people would call the Akashic records, like pulling in different threads of energy to empower your movement forward and kind of knowing swift decisions. We've got Eight of Wands, lots of Wands card, lots of movement. That looks like being able to hover or project, hovering over, seeing the pathway as it's sort of laid out in advance in real time, but not too far in advance, but helping you navigate through. There was the Ace of Swords too, resurgent status. It feels like an up-leveling within your own self-identity, and that will flow on into, the most significant relationships. Absolutely, no doubt. We've got the Fool. So, and we've got the Ace of Coins, a new career move. Oh my God, the Fool. So taking that leap of faith in spontaneous, like as you get prompted, as you are getting the insights and intuitive downloads to do things that may be out of the realm of what you perceive possible, or might slightly be out of what you've known, or make you feel a little uncomfortable. It's like take the chances, be spontaneous. That's what's going to essentially give you, that we've got two aces here, new career pathways, doorways opening, abundance, opportunities, streams of income. We've also got the Lovers card too. So there's a real maybe fusing together and co-collaborating with another in a partnership, a conscious relationship, maybe reuniting or strengthening, resyncing in a love connection or a strong soul bond that may be platonic. We've got to take it as it applies, but it definitely has those notes of we had we've got the star. Oh my goodness. Can we get any more better cards? So hope, inspiration, nature. So the star is really just when things start to realign. It's like you've been through the tower, the uncomfortable shifts and changes, the pathway of things dissolving and moving and loss. And it's like the star illuminates the rebuilding and restructure to work with the new version of you that is coming available and online. Let's grab some ET Experiencer cards and see what else we can throw in the mix here. Feels like a lot of empowering or powerful alignments and movement happening here. We've got Sirius. So you've encountered beings from Sirius, or you may have Syrian aspects in your soul, lineage and aspect. Syrians connected to a lot of aquatic or light blue. I see it in light blue frequency, a lot of whale, dolphin, dogs even. So affinity with animals may be really strong for you. There might be animals in the ethers too, not just those beloved fur babies in the physical, but those that in helping bridge the new reality too. Shout out to Luna and Ari and all the others that are there helping to bridge this reality to the next. Oh, I'm going to get all emotional. True experience. The experience was real, don't doubt it. So, whatever multidimensional, otherworldly experiences you may have had in the past, this is just a confirmation to know that everything that you did experience was real, and you can trust that, even if it clashes with your conscious mind and you kind of don't know where to put it or place it. Just know that it was real and it will come back around in really profound ways. Oh, I feel like that was a bit of a message for me. That hit some emotional chords then. Oh. Oh, we got soulmates. Oh, and technology. So the SSP connotations here. Just a side note. We've got soulmates. So your soulmate is from the stars. So you might have that really cosmic connection that maybe I want to say in the month of March there's quite profound and significant changes in that soul connection that is cosmically aligned, whether it's things moving in the physical realm or the clarity comes in via dream or meditation. It feels like whatever you've been waiting for to get the clarity, like that. Ooh, my body just that moves forward this month. So, and then we have technology. You've witnessed or used ET technology. So many stories around that, but I won't go there. And we have telepathy too. So don't forget that you have that capacity of the mind melding telepathy, and you can connect with and share and speak via the mind. And that feels quite important at this time. Yeah, there might be some program overlays here in your connections, but it feels like whatever's moving in the astral or multidimensionally that's like closing down or ceasing to operate or exist is what is like allowing the shifts and changes in conscious connections to become more grounded, perhaps, or accessible or balanced, realized in the physical. One more card. Hybrid children. Spend your time with ET hybrid children. So
however that applies to you. It might be new earth children coming through your connection. It might be recognizing um the very specific starlight qualities in the already have in it already the children that you have. It might be an activation of the coding. You might be a hybrid. I mean, I think we're all hybrids, really. So it might be activating the dormant, and that feels more fitting actually, activating the dormant strands of your hybrid sort of cosmic coding or DNA. And then we're going to finish it off with Heal the Planet. Your experience guided you to help heal the earth. So coming in alignment with that bigger soul purpose and mission and what you're here to do. So if you're feeling the call to that, I would, keep an eye out for my Equinox soul immersion, which is all about that. And all the details will be available soon. We'll be hosted live in Brisbane, and also it'll be live streamed as well, so no one misses out. But there will be limited spaces available if you want to come and hang out with me in Brisbane over Equinox. So all the details will be available. As I said, the details will be available soon. If you're in Brisbane and you want to connect, please send me an email so I can let you know as soon as that becomes available. There are heaps of other, I'm going to wrap that up for now. So just if we're signing off for now, I hope that that reading has helped support you in some way. It resonates. I hope you've enjoyed this update and this video. There are lots of events happening in March. So I've got the 3 soul activation online, which is reclaiming your power. If you're in Melbourne, we've got the Skywatch event on the 14th of March. And that will be when 3i Atlas, I believe, is passing Jupiter. So really powerful, sort of energetic. And the location that we're going to was phenomenal last time. It was a really, really powerful event. And of course, the Brisbane Equinox that I'll be hosting, whether you're in Queensland and you'd like to come along in person and meet me and be a part of the soul immersion, or if you're anywhere else in the world, you can join via the live stream or the replay. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here and part of this. And I truly, truly hope that this magnificent March is really empowering for you in the times that we're moving through. So much love, and I will connect with you all soon.